Carmelo Anthony is now a danger to newborn babies because his latest victim is exactly that. The terror and chaos that he is behind that is now being inflicted upon innocent families because of him is not going to go over well at all with dangerous, deadly prison inmates that he will ultimately come face to face with. Many of those inmates are appalled at what he has caused via several sources inside Texas state prisons that I have spoken to personally, because as someone who has done 10 years in prison myself, I saw firsthand how the deepest cut for many inmates is how they have lost their families as well. Something like this is 99% guaranteed to cause a brutal emotional outbursting attack from an inmate upon Carmelo Anthony once he finally does arrive in prison. But I'll explain everything. Let's get started. So, for a quick update, Carmelo Anthony's family and team's newest paid social media black community activist, the voice of the streets, influencer Charleston White, who we've talked about many times before, has just come out with a new video addressing the fact that Sarah Fields, the woman who is simply a investigative journalist out of Texas, this is in her hometown almost that this happened, is exposing not her own narrative, not her own opinions, but the pure facts. I'm talking data, documents, reports, and evidence. She gets her hands on this legally and puts it out there to the public. Carmelo Anthony's team is so mad about that because they know that Carmelo is wrong. They are weaponizing the entire evil, sadistic army that is behind Carmelo. Not only Charleston White, who they're paying, but they're weaponizing this army to go after solely and specifically Sarah Fields, the investigative journalist who is responsible for probably 99% of what you see as far as updates and information about the Carmelo Anthony case. And that's why they're so mad at her. She's the one who's getting this information. She's the one doing this work. So they are going after her so hard, you will not even believe the levels they have stooped to go after this woman and her family and her babies. They have gone after her not even hours after her newborn baby was just delivered into this world. It's sickening stuff. But first, let's start with, before this happened, what I'm about to explain. And then I'll explain why inmates in Texas prisons are pissed about what he's recently, him and his team, anything associated with his name. Carmelo, you are responsible. That's how they feel for what has happened to this family and what has been done, which is just so awful. I'll explain that and then how inmates feel and what's really going to happen to him once he does meet his day behind bars. But first, this all but reignited and popped up once again with Charleston White making this video, which is pretty lengthy. I'll just give you the highlights. And this is in response to the fact that Sarah Fields is suing Charleston White for defamation for the egregious things and ridiculous claims he has made about her online. This is the top dog, the new big frontline spokesman for Carmelo Anthony. Take a listen to how he talks and what he has to say about it. So there you have it. I mean, I think the most telling thing about this clip is that he's never like, yeah, you can sue me. You can sue me if you want. Sue me for defamation. You'll never win because I'm right and I did not defame you. What I said was not wrong. What I said was not inaccurate. I didn't step over a line. The only thing he said here was, you can sue me. That's fine. I got a lot of money. I'm going to show you I'm rich. Basically saying I can afford to be sued and lose because he knows he will lose because he knows he said inaccurate, defamatory things about this innocent woman who is a mother to multiple children and just went into labor. He never once said, oh, you're going to sue me? Well, yeah, that's fine. Because, I mean, we don't need to talk about how much money you made. You made $1 million, $5 million, $8 million. It doesn't matter. If you didn't do anything wrong, if you didn't defame her and make things up, you're not going to lose the lawsuit. So you would be like, that's fine. You can sue me. But I stand by everything I said about you. And everything was true. And so I'm not even going to lose a dime. It doesn't matter if I made $100 a year or 100 million a year. I'm not going to lose a dime because everything I said was true and I won't lose this case. He knows he will because he knows he lied and he knows he's going after her and attacking her and saying egregious things. He's really just flexing, saying, hey, I know you're going to sue me for some certain amount of money, but hey, that doesn't bother me because I got a lot more money. So I'll give that to you. Then also, like Sarah says here, like you're so stupid. You're about to learn like why you need to keep your mouth shut when you're in the middle of a lawsuit. And I don't know. I'm not in her head. I'm not Sarah Fields. I don't know exactly why she said that, but I got a good guess. Maybe because you're on here talking about how you got so many millions and you got 5 houses and all this crap. Her and her lawyers might have never even known that. But now that you said that publicly, well, we might have to do some digging. And we'll make sure we adjust our asking and lawsuit amount accordingly. Since, well, we didn't know you had 5 properties. We didn't even realize you had all these millions. Oh, thank you for clarifying that. Now I'll ask for more. As she should, because this is ridiculous. He's going after her and weaponizing the Karmelo Anthony army as the general of Karmelo Anthony's family, team, and army online and everywhere in the world. He is the general. He is weaponizing everyone against solely Sarah J. Fields because it is solely Sarah J. Fields who is exposing pretty much 95, if not more, % of the facts and details and reports of this case. That is why he is trying to silence her and trying to use all his resources to make her life a living hell. And let's talk about how he has done that. And once we talk about how he's done that in just a second, we'll talk about why that's once again, you are setting this young man, Karmelo Anthony, who's a piece of crap, but still this young man who has no idea what he's dipping his toes into, the prison system, especially in Texas. Oh my gosh. You are setting him up for devastation. And I have had this confirmed by inmates. We'll get into both of those things. But first of all, here's what Karmelo's team has weaponized their army to do to only Sarah J. Fields. So let me show you the tweets from Sarah J. Fields on X.com about the crazy things that have been being done to her by Karmelo Anthony and his team. Now, obviously, we know Charleston White. He only cares about money. This is a man who publicly came out on his own free will and condemned Karmelo Anthony at the very beginning when this first happened and first broke headlines on the internet. He condemned him and said Karmelo Anthony deserves life in prison, nothing less. Quickly switched once he was likely paid because then he comes out. Oh, Karmelo, we need to save him. Let's save Karmelo. Everyone get together and save Karmelo. Uh, by the way, I just had a few recent in-person discussions with Karmelo's father, who also has raised over $500,000 for Karmelo. Do we see from that short clip how much Charleston White values money? He's addressing Sarah J. Fields, a journalist who is exposing the facts of how Karmelo murdered Austin Metcalf. Karmelo did not have any self-defense there. Karmelo is a killer and needs to go away. He's addressing her on how she's exposing that, and then addressing the lawsuit that she is putting against him for in retaliation, the egregious, just ridiculous claims he's made against her, and addressing these two major subjects. All roads lead back to how much money he's made and how much money he has and how much money he will continue making. That's all. Do you see? That's all he cares about. And there is your proof. I mean, other than it just being laid out in black and white, what more proof do you need? This man has been paid to change his opinion publicly and promote for Karmelo Anthony and rally this evil, sadistic army that is formed behind Karmelo Anthony and his family to go after anyone who not just opposes him, but is simply just trying to give the neutral, unbiased truth. So, Sarah J. Fields says, report, Karmelo Anthony supporters are now using government entities, CPS and LE, to do their dirty work and target me in an effort to silence my reporting on the murder of Austin Metcalf. I've prayed about whether I should post this publicly, and I have decided to do so because people need to know just how badly I am being targeted right now for simply being a lead journalist reporting on the Metcalf/Anthony case. On Sunday, August 24th, my home was swatted. Aside from the emotional distress this caused, especially as I was past my due date, she is pregnant, very pregnant, guys. We recovered and appreciated how well the department handled the incident. That same night, I went into labor. Now, listen, I know she was past due. It could have happened at any moment, but one has to think, did the stress and anxiety of being swatted cause her to go into labor sooner than she would have if that wouldn't have happened? I mean, this is ridiculous. Anyways, that night I went into labor. I labored at home from 11 p.m. until 3 a.m., then headed to the hospital on the morning of August 25th. Then at 12 noon on the 25th, I was in the hospital in active labor. I received a phone call from my teenage son that Child Protective Services was at our door. I shouldn't have to explain the extreme and immediate emotional distress this caused me and my family. Here's the short footage.
I'm not gonna ask you. Can I see your little brother just to show that I saw him?
Indy, come here real quick. Come here. I just missed you. I just called it.
She goes on to say, only cowards use the government to do their dirty work. This is the first time I have posted publicly about this incident. However, Karmelo Anthony supporters have posted multiple times in just the past week about, quote, calling CPS on Sarah Fields. They have discussed it in their TikTok lives. They have stated that there is a master plan, quote, to silence me via private Zoom meetings held by Tiffany Billions, another activist who is dead set on harming every single part of Sarah Fields' life that she can for simply exposing the bare facts of the Karmelo case. She says, and they've shared links to petitions encouraging individuals to call and have CPS investigate me and my family. So there you have the lows that Karmelo's crew will stoop to. Everyone in support of him who is trying to make this claim, oh, he was justified for what he did. He was bullied. He's a hero. He did the right thing. They've swatted Austin Metcalf's family members almost maybe 10 times collectively now, if not more. Now they're swatting anyone who dares speak out and reveal the facts that show what a bad person Karmelo is. Now they're paying money to influential instigators online to fire people up and fuel them with hate towards this person and likely in the future anyone else, maybe even me one day, which that's fine. I don't have any liabilities. I don't have any kids. I don't have any responsibilities. I don't have any, it's just me. And I'm not afraid of police. I mean, if you SWAT me and they show up, it's like, dude, I spent 10 years in prison living in the actual same building as law enforcement. They would walk around every 30 minutes. I know how to talk. I know how to cooperate. I won't be fazed. I won't be afraid. I'll simply cooperate, get down, and give it about 20 minutes until they realize this is all BS and then have a good laugh with them. So I don't care. That doesn't scare me. But I mean, absolutely. Someone who's never been through this and has a family and babies and kids. And yeah, that's awful. That's pretty much attempted murder. Because the whole purpose of swatting a family, if a lot more of the younger crowd knows this. Maybe a few of you who are a bit older like me or just older than me know, but the purpose and intention of swatting someone, which is what they've done to Sarah Fields on the day she went into labor, you're hoping that you can make up something extreme enough anonymously to the police about this person that you say is going on at their residence right now, to where they surround that residence with full force. I mean, all the bells and whistles, SWAT. That's why it's called swatting. They want SWAT. They want the riot team, 25 units out there with guns and snipers and shields and flashbangs. I mean, people busting in through the door and the windows. Your ultimate goal as a swatter is to call this in anonymously and get the police to show up thinking this is going on. They surprise you. You, of course, are just living your everyday life at home, probably watching Netflix, eating some nuggets from Chick-fil-A, and boom, the ding-dang special forces bust up in your house demanding you cooperate. Obviously, this is like something surreal, almost out of a dream, actually a nightmare. And so it's not that you don't want to cooperate. It's just almost like, what the, what? Because at least if you were a criminal and you actually were holding someone hostage, or you had murdered someone, or you were kidnapping someone, or you did something, if law enforcement showed up, you'd at least know, oh man, they got me. I know what this is about. When it's even worse when you're just chilling and you're just living your life and you have done nothing wrong, and they come with this type of force, which is no blame on them. They think this is real. They think whatever was told to them is a real anonymous tip, and they're coming to save someone that you have tied up in the basement or something. And they bust in, and you're like, whoa, whoa, and they're like, get out, get out, get out. You're like, whoa, wait, what? You don't even wait, what? And you don't cooperate, boom, you're dead. That's what the swatters are hoping to happen. They're hoping to get you killed by doing that anonymously. That's why they do it. They're trying to get you killed by law enforcement throughout all this chaos and confusion. So Karmelo Anthony is attempting to murder an innocent woman and possibly her family and even newborn baby by doing this. And let me tell you, the fact that they have rallied their troops to call CPS and do they're not just swatting now, they're doing fake CPS reports in hopes of getting Sarah Fields' children, one of which she just had 30 hours ago, taken away from her due to false reports, just because they are mad that someone is exposing the fact that Karmelo Anthony is not a hero because he stabbed a white boy. Down with the crackers. It's time these crackers started learning their place. That black boy stabbed that white boy because that white boy was racist. That's not true. And Sarah is exposing it's not true. Karmelo was the bully, and he assaulted him and killed him for nothing, for actually trying to be a hero and protect his fellow classmates from a potential mass shooter at a school. They're mad about that. And so, because you're exposing the truth of what a horrible person Karmelo was, we, as Karmelo's army, we're going to do everything we can to get you killed and then also get your children taken away from you. That's their approach. And their ringleader, Charleston White, look how much money I have. Look how much money I've made. Look how much more money I'm going to make. Money, 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 money. Look how much money I have. I don't care. Sue me. I'll do anything I want to you. You can sue me and I'll pay it. And then I'll still have more money and more millions because I make a lot of money. Money, 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 money. This is all going to go wrong with the inmates because we know, listen, Karmelo is ultimately going to land in prison. We don't know for how long. Even I don't know I could give you a good guess. I could give you my educated guess. I could give you my opinion based off experience. But I will tell you this, Karmelo is going to prison, state prison in Texas. I don't know for how long, but it really doesn't matter because at this point, everything they've done has inmates who have told me, this isn't just me guessing, inmates in prison, which if you don't know me, check my videos, check my most popular videos, check my track record. I built this brand off of getting inside information on video, audio, and visual from inmates in relevant prisons to the cases I was covering at the time, telling me as an inmate in that prison with that person what's up and how they feel and what the general outlook and attitude towards this infamous, well-covered in the media inmate, future inmate, whatever is. That's how I built my brand. All reports are coming back from Texas. They are pissed, and they have been pissed for several reasons for quite a long time. And the newest reason they're pissed, they don't even need another reason. They're already pissed enough to do something to them. But the newest reason is now you are actively encouraging your army to separate an innocent family. A new mother with a new child. A new father from a new child. You are separating them. You are ripping them apart when they have done nothing wrong. And this hits home for a lot of inmates. I'm going to tell you why. You can think what you want of inmates and people in prison. They're awful. They all did bad things to innocent people. They're all criminals. They're all monsters. I'm not going to argue with you on that. When I did what I did, I was a monster. When I was 19, I was a monster. And thank God somebody caught me and locked me up for 10 years, which knocked some sense into me to where I don't even want to drive without buckling my seatbelt anymore. I don't break laws. Maybe they were a monster at that point in time, and maybe they still are a monster, but there are many, many men in there who have, they were monsters and did what they did, and they got their time, they got their consequence, which they deserved, and 10, 20, 25 years has gone by and they're still there and they have changed. They have changed. They are not that same person. I am not the same person at 33 that I was when I was 19. Newsflash. I couldn't even buy a beer in a gas station. Now I'm 33. I've changed. People grow up, they mature, and they change their ways and mindsets. Unfortunately, they do this and they change and they are rehabilitated. They're ready to be good people in society like I was. But you know what? I still got 5, 6, 7 more years to do. I've learned my lesson. But I can't be a good person in the world for another 6.5 years. Whatever. There's plenty of people like this in prison. So they have that view. And this hits, even if they haven't changed, this hits home because one of the deepest cuts for an inmate is, even though 90% of the time it's their own fault and their own doing, their own doing and own ruining, I meant to say, doing. Maybe that's a combo word. Their own doing and ruining. Their own doing. They have lost touch with their daughters, their sons, their nephews, their nieces, their baby cousins, their grandkids, the older inmates. You got inmates in there with white hair and wrinkles. Their grandkids, their great grandkids. They'll never know them. They'll never see them, never meet them. And that hurts them deep inside when they're laying in their cold metal bunk. Unforgiving slab of metal that they lay on, and thinking about how they screwed their life up and hurt their family and lost touch with their kids. They won't be there for day one of pre-K. They won't be there for day one of middle school. They won't be there when you graduate high school. They won't be there to send you off and help you move all your crap into your college dorm room. They won't be there, and it's their own fault. And that cuts deeply. And that is what I'm getting, the general consensus from inmates who have talked to me from Texas prisons. They are pissed because you are actively trying to create that scenario for someone who doesn't deserve it, because you don't deserve it simply for the fact that you want to be there for your children. You're not out committing crimes, living the hood life, the street life, the yo gangsta life. I'm selling coke. I'm getting money. I'm shooting people with guns. No, she's just a woman who's happily married with a family, living a nice little life. And she, on the side, she's an investigative journalist, and a damn good one, because everything you've ever heard about Karmelo Anthony, I can guarantee you, 9 out of 10 times came from her. No matter who you heard it from, I bet you they got it from her. And they know that, and that's why they're going out. Cut it off at the head. If we cut the head off, all these little people reporting on it, just like me. I'm a little guy reporting on it. I'll admit it. That's why I always give credit. They're trying to cut her head off. They're trying to ruin her family. They're trying to swat her. They're trying to get her killed. They're trying to get CPS involved, get her kids taken away. They want to do the most evil things possible to get her to shut her mouth and stop doing this. And she still won't. And for that, she gets my salute. And for that, she should have all y'all's respect and your support. But I'm going to tell you, these inmates, they don't like that. There's a lot of inmates, they've taken accountability. Hey, I ruined my own family. I messed up. If I could just have a second chance, and if I do ever get a second chance, I will make things right. I will reunite this family and be a good man, a good husband, a good father, a good grandfather, a good uncle. And here you are, tearing apart a family that doesn't deserve to be torn apart for racial reasons. Let's call it how it is. It's for nothing other than racial reasons. That's why the Army is so passionate. They're pissed. They're ready to do something. And there are now like 11 reasons that light a fire. Each one of those 11 light a fire under them, to where just one of those 11 would cause them to attack and brutalize Karmelo Anthony. Now they have 11. It's not looking good. They keep messing up. They keep making mistakes, and I'm glad they do, because I can't wait in 2026 to hear about when Karmelo gets sentenced, and he gets sent in there, maybe the end of 2026, because it will take that long. Trial happens. He gets sentenced. He goes through blah, 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 blah. He's in protective custody for 2-3 months, blah, blah, blah. The hype dies down. No one really remembers his name. And then boom, TMZ or somebody comes out. It's been 7 months since he went to prison. And guess what? Somebody done fucked him up. And done fucked him up. They're going to, I'm telling you. I know that. And I don't know how many things I've said on this channel with this much conviction that I've ever been wrong about. I don't think I've ever have. Food for thought. There you go. There's your update. Other than that, hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you next time.